Let's now take you to Weija, where Benjamin Akapo is on standby to bring us the latest on the aftermath of recent floods that caused a loss of life and properties. We are told that there could be another flood due to predictions by the Ghana Meteorological Agency. And the Ghana Water Company Limited says it's not to blame for what we saw sometime last week. And so residents are being cautioned and being asked to evacuate, especially those close to the buffer zone area. Hello, Benjamin. What have you observed today?
Well, Bernice, we're here in Old Tetegu. And of course, you know that as far as the spillage is concerned, all of these communities, Oblogo, Tetegu, the Weija area, were all affected. Well, today we find ourselves at the Old Tetegu taxi rank. You can see a car here being worked on. But we've also put together some opinion leaders in the community, those who are affected, and we're about to talk about the critical issues. So we are starting here with this gentleman. Good morning.
Elias Ariaman.
Please take your time. Let's start with your name.
Yeah, my name is Bernard Elias Ariaman.
Okay, so Bernard, tell us about what happened last week, the flooding, how it happened, and what people in the community, what do you think?
Yeah, actually the whole thing happened impromptu. Normally when it was coming, they have to give us information, but this very one, no information reached us. We were just in the house, all of a sudden then the water started coming. Then they told us that they have spilled Weija Dam. So actually we were there within some few minutes, our house rooms are all affected. So we have...
You mean in a matter of minutes?
With a matter of minutes, I can say. All of a sudden, the place was flooded. People were carrying their things out. Some of them, they were not able to carry their things out. Everything was completely spoiled in their rooms. That's how the whole thing happened. But the most important thing we wanted from the government is that whenever they are going to spill, they have to give us information. And then they marked to the seaside to see whether the place which has been blocked with the sun will be open, so that when they spill, it can pass through there straight to the sea and will not be affected. That's the most important thing they have to do first. They have to watch all over there and see whether the place is locked up, Botiano, is open. Then we can see something better.
So you're saying that we hear that in April, they made mention to you, the Ghana Water Company Limited, there was a spillage then. But you're saying that in this instance, there was no alert?
No alert at all. They didn't inform us anything. The water just started coming, just like that.
After this happened, now at least the flood waters have receded. We went deep into the town and realized that some places you would see that the bottom part, I think you can even see from here, where the watermark. What has been the impact of this on this community?
No, actually, we were very, very worried. We wanted the government actually to come in our aid to help, to see how we can. Because when we went far to ask, they said this place is a waterlogged, and then it's what they said they call the place. This place is just for birds to be rearing birds all over here. So it means they don't bother us at all. But when it is time for voting and other things, they bring their balloting boxes, very big ones. Then we vote for them. Even when it happened, our main woman who is supposed to be the MP to visit us, he never visited us.
You're talking about Tina?
Tina. He never visited us to see what is actually happening. So we are just there like that.
Interesting comments coming through from an opinion leader. Please let me just sit in between you and also bring in my brother here, Mr. Bomita, right?
Yeah,
okay, so Achuk Bomita, thank you for joining the conversation. For you, what do you think about everything that happened here? And since it happened, what was the impact? How have you been coping?
To be honest with you, we've been in this for, let me say, for decades.
How long have you lived here?
I've lived here for the past 30 years plus. And the last time I noticed this was 1991, the first time, wow, which was very serious. People were out of the place because they were informed that the dam was going to be spilled. And, you know, they find a way to evacuate. You see, and sometimes where around 97, you know, it used to happen. But by then there was, some sort of coordinating between the Ghana Water and the community. Right. You see, they do bring their vehicle and then sit with the opinion leaders. And at the end of the day, the opinion leaders also relay to the community. And then, you know, what we have to do, we do it. But this time around, it was so serious. And, you know, for all you know, Ghana Water has given meters to people living here. We are all connected to the, Ghana Water Company in this thing. And therefore, if there is anything, we are customers. The customer is always right. They have to, deal with less like customers. But they can't just build it and then, you know, everything come to a halt. There was no business. Cars could not move. People were, you know, stuck in their rooms. We have to use the canoe to evacuate some of them, which was bad.
Should this happen again, how will you be able to cope?
I don't think it should happen again.
But you know, they've told us that if the rain continues heavily in the eastern region, it will also mean that once it shoots up to capacity, the Weija Dam, they will have to spill again. How are you going to cope?
Well, as we manage to cope with this, I know when we get there, we cross that one too.
That brings me to the question. You were telling me earlier about dredging and how there was a plan all the way through the Bojo Beach area to create a channel, dredge so that when the Densu, you know, they spill, it would go directly into the sea. When was this? What happened to that plan?
Yeah, that's very true. I learned from some of my elders that was a plan, a laid-down plan, and was even sponsored by the World Bank.
Sponsored by the World Bank. How long ago? Do you have an idea?
I don't have an idea, but I was told that was the plan. So that dredging could be from the main dam down to the Bojo Beach, down to the Bojo Canal. That's where it passes into the sea. But nothing of that sort has been mentioned. As at now, we don't know how that project, how it ended. You see, there are a lot of things we need, a lot of questions we need to ask. This is one major, river that has left. This is the only one left within the Greater Accra region, because the other ones are all dead. It has been turned into a gutter. They need to do something to, preserve this one for the future generation to come and see. Yes, because I wasn't old enough when the Koli and then the Odo rivers were alive with fish in them. But at least I've seen this one. Right. So the next generation also need to witness it. But not that the river will come and then destroy us. Those people that are supposed to benefit from it, it's rather come out to destroy them, their properties, which is too bad. They need to do something about it.
Something needs to be done about it. But how about you? It's also been said that you can do something by way of leaving this community. Some have said that you are not supposed to be here in the first place. How do you react?
No, we are supposed to be here. If we weren't supposed to be here, Ghana Water wouldn't have given us meters for us to be paying, tax to the government.
But you do admit that if you have buildings on waterways, if you have buildings, some of them not properly located and all of that, that is part of the problem, right?
Tetegu is a well-planned community. There is no building on any waterway. Our people have lived here for the past more than 300 years. They've lived here, they go in, they come back. And we are still living here. Tetegu is part of the Weija, Bawe electoral area. So we have the right to live here. They shouldn't say, those days that our people were living here, why didn't they tell them that they are not supposed to live here? We've lived here, people have building permits, registered their lands, and they are telling them we are not supposed to live here. That's not true. You have the right to live here.
In fact, some of you talk about the fact that you had been living here for a long time, your ancestors, even before the dam was put up.
My mother was born here, attended Weija school, completed here, and has been living here ever since. Yeah. So we have the right to live here.
And so there is no plan to move, regardless of how bad the situation gets. You have no plan to leave this community.
No, I don't think. No, it's not. This is not any big deal. This we've witnessed it before, and I don't think it is something that will be based on for us to leave this place. No, it is up to them to know how to control the spillage. That's all.
Okay.
When you control it well, it will not affect anybody.
All right. Just hold for me, Mr. Gbomita. I'll come back to you as we talk about solutions, and I'll come back to you as well. You're a former assemblyman, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so a former assemblyman, an opinion leader. Let me also interact with another key opinion leader in this community. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
What's your name?
My name is Weija Mark Atupa.
Okay, all right. So, Mawenyega, you've heard some of the issues I've already discussed with your community members. I've noticed that a lot of those here are Ewe. They speak Ewe. What's the history? I see that you know a lot about the history. How come?
Yes, this community is founded by Ewes, the Ewes. So that is the main reason why this is an Ewe community, but now it has turned into a cosmopolitan community.
Okay. And on the subject of relocation, what do you think about it?
On the subject of relocation, Tetegu, we are not ready to move anywhere. Because one, why are we moving? What is the reason? What are the reasons behind someone telling us to move from here? Because one, this community was founded way back about 200 years before even the dam that is causing us now was built. Okay, Tetegu was founded somewhere around 1737 up to 1978 before this dam was built. So Tetegu is more than 200 years older than the dam that was built. And even if I should say, there were some 2-3 communities that I can say are older than Tetegu when it comes to the downstream, which is Aplaku, Weija, and Bawi. So before they built the dam, these people, the government came to meet chiefs and other people, opinion leaders then around this area. And they even entered into an agreement with some of the chiefs to compensate the people downstream because of the dam that they are building. If I'm not lying, Antonyami, the Weija chief, was the one who led that negotiation, and they were supposed to pay some compensations.
How long ago was this?
This, I should say, in the 1960s, when they started the project. So you can ask Ghana Water whether they've even been able to pay those compensations that they were supposed to pay. Now, if I'm staying somewhere and you did your project, okay, you did your...
But is it there? It is your project. It is a project for all of us. I mean, so many millions of people get water in Accra from the Weija Dam.
So should I be sacrificed? Should I be victimized for you sacrificing me every year? That you spill the excess of water to pass through my area to go into the sea. And the most painful thing is that there are maintenance components attached to the dam. When they built the dam, they were supposed to dredge the river every 10 years because they know very well that through the spillage there will be sand deposit in the river, which the former depth of the river, which is 25 feet, has now closed.
It has changed.
It has changed. You cannot even get up to 10 feet now in our rivers. So when the water comes, it easily overflow. So ask them from 78 that they built that dam, whether they've been, how many times they've been able to dredge it up to date. And then they were supposed to make the, how do we call it, the lagoon, which you can find at Chokome, Bojo Beach. Right. They are supposed to make it open, like the Kole Lagoon, so that at the end of the day, every water that they spill will just go into the sea without worrying the people downstream. But those things are not done. And even when they spill the water, one painful thing is that they will not even come and then see the plight of the people see whether we are okay, how we are surviving. Nothing of that sort will be done. So it's like they intentionally do the thing and then come and be blaming us. The water that comes into the dam normally comes from the eastern region. When they have excess of rainfall, it comes into how do we call it, Isawam, and then drop back to the dam. So as someone who works at Ghana Water, operation directors, the managers, and the rest, what have you, if you are not sitting in the comfort of your office and you monitor the situation well, recently we knew that before they spilled this river, Chebi was flooded. Koforidua, almighty Koforidua, the entire community was flooded because of rainfall. Here we don't face flood when it's rain. We don't have, like you can see, we don't have drainage system, we don't have anything. But when it's rain, we don't face any problem. But for them, they have everything that they need. But when it's rain, they face the problem. The water comes into the Weija Dam, they spill it here. Okay, so are we the ones causing it? Or they are the ones causing it? Those who are saying that Tetegu is not a place for people to stay. So what about those who just common rain from the heaven, natural one, get them flooded? Then it means their place is the problem. We do not have any problem here when it rains. You can ask anywhere.
So the bit about your being on the course as far as the Dinsu is, it places you in a precarious situation. It's not going to be easy. It means that every time it's spilled, and now like I mentioned, we've been told that if the Weija Dam gets full again, and it's pretty high up there in terms of the feet, they would spill. Don't you think that is reason enough for you to maybe judge with government to arrive at some solution?
We've done that. We've done that. I think if I can remember, myself as unit committee chairman then, with my assembly member, Honorable Asantua, we wrote a letter to Hydrological Service, Ghana Water Company, the Municipal Assembly, and they delegated a Hydrological Service to come here. They came, we took them around and showed them all the problems that we were facing here. Okay? And they promised us coming to our aid.
How long ago was this?
2017. 2017. So 2019, I realized Hydro started some dredging. They dredged only from the main Kasua bridge. That is where they dredged and then left the rest of the work. And the information we had is that the project was funded by World Bank. So they should have continued the dredging. And then the sand that they are getting from the river, they use it to embank the river so that the water will not overflow into the community. But that was not done. It was not completed. Ask them where the funds go. Those in charge, whether as a hydrological service, whether they were not here with coastal development agencies and or what have you. They were here. We sat under this tree with the chiefs and elders of the community and made sure we take them around and show them the problems. But nothing was done about it. My senior former assemblyman, Honorable Bernard Platonu, they did what they can do during their time as senior men in the community until we also came to take over from them. But nothing was done about the whole situation. It's only about, let's do it. When we do it, we can have a cover-up and say that the place is not meant for human beings. This place...
You call it a cover-up?
Yes, it's a cover-up.
By whom?
By the authorities. Because now, what they did now, they informed us in April that they will spill the river. They spilled it about 2 months. It was gone. Everything was gone. Then came this one. Nobody was informed. We were not given prior notice about it. One Sunday, just last week Sunday, we were there, and then we realized that from 10:30, 11 thereabouts, the water started coming into people's home. So we wake up in the morning and the whole community started submerging.
Wait, so you are assemblyman. You are telling me that you had no idea?
I'm not an assemblyman. I'm a former unit committee chairman, former development and service chairman to the Weija Zonal Council, and an assembly aspirant during the last election.
Okay, so you are an aspirant.
I'm a youth leader here.
And members of the community, I mean, I've spoken to the former assemblyman and other people. All of you are singing one, song. You were not aware.
We were not aware about this very one, this very spillage. We were not aware. We were not informed.
What has...
And one painful thing is that when this whole thing happened, we have our MP, who is a Deputy Minister of Health, Honorable Tinana Ile Mensah, who reside here with us in Tetegu. But till date, before, during, and after the flood, she has not even moved. It's just a walking distance from here. But she has not even moved to even ask us how we were feeling. During the flood, we the youth have to, feed the lot of people, the stranded people, with our own pocket here, just right here, at that spot, the black spot there. Cameraman, you can take it. That is where we cook and share to all those who were stranded here.
So you mean that place where there's a lot of burn marks there, that's where you were cooking?
That is where we cook. We go out there and bring food and come and cook to the teeming stranded people who they can only find this place as a safe place. You see, no government official came to our aid. You see,
did you receive any help from NADMO? Did NADMO officials come here?
NADMO officials, I should say, I'm very grateful to them, because even though they've not given us any relief item, they were here and they came to assess the situation. That was how it got to their notice that the estuary, where the water has to pass before getting into the sea, was not open, that they should do something about it. And they were very, very swift with it. They worked throughout the night to be able to open that estuary. And on a daytime, we called them again. Me personally, with some of the youth, about 10 or 15 of us, went with them again to show them that although they work overnight, but the work they did cannot help us, help the situation. So we have to help them expand the estuary for it to be able to open more, which draw the water out of the community, all the communities before us. Because SCC was flooded, White Cross, Dansoma, Aplaku, Sampa Valley, part of Chokome, and a whole lot, Oblogo, Weija. All those communities were flooded. But I don't know why people are putting the red light on Tetegu, that we are not supposed to be here. And right. I'm telling them today that Tetegu will be here and make sure that the next time anything like this happen, we will make sure we take Ghana Water to court to pay the damages.
All right. So you would realize that in this community, lots of buildings were affected. When we went to the other side, we saw lots of those communities and you can see the rain mark, the water mark. Here, it is very low, but when you go in there, you would see some of them about 4 or 5 blocks high. They were still, you can see the water mark there. I just want to find out from you. So you would see that if it keeps on like this, eventually the structures here are going to be affected. When you look all around you, the structures here are going to be affected. What are you going to do about that? Eventually it could lead to some buildings collapsing. What are you going to do?
Yes, even with this, some buildings collapsed, some walls collapsed, including my own.
Your building collapsed?
No, not building,
the wall.
My wall. Okay.
Where do you stay?
I stay on this lane, which is about a kilometer away from the river. But my house my wall got damaged, and even my things in my room, everything got damaged. Because one, I was focused on saving the people without recourse to my home getting flooded. Because as a youth leader, when this thing happens, you have to make sure you rescue the people, okay? Because I was able to, evacuate my wife and my kids, the entire focus became on the people. Those who are trapped in the water, how do we bring them to a safe haven and all those stuff. So leading to it, after the whole thing, I got home and my things were damaged. But look, the truth is, if they manage how to spill the river, we will also, if they manage how to spill the dam, we will have our peace of mind. Because like this one, when they realize that Weija, the eastern region is having problem, and they started opening, how do we call it, spilling the one in the dam to go before this one comes, like we would have been saved now.
All right, let me just give you a bit of a view of the community. I see this vehicle coming. We'll be coming back to wrap up with the solutions, but all the way across that bridge entering this community was flooded. In fact, if you had to come into this community, you would have to use a canoe. There was no life here, no one was going out. If you had to move, you had to use a canoe until after some days the waters had receded. And that is where, as he was pointing to, this is where the cooking was ongoing. This is where members of the community, we brought you some of that footage when the flooding happened. And you can wire and, you know, copper and all of that. This is where the cooking happened, just to keep body and soul together for members of the community. Now, you can even look at this wall right here, this green building. You can see at the bottom the watermark. That is what the flooding did to this community. No one could come out. Basically, if you were inside, you were trapped. And you can still see, at least in this direction where the sheep are passing, you can still see that the place is a bit wet. That is what this community in Old Tetegu had to go through. And so we're here today gauging the mood of community members, and they have made it loud and clear that, in fact, they are not leaving this place. They are not going anywhere. This is their home, and they just want the right things to be done. AKA, one, the Ghana Water Company Limited must ensure that when spilling is going to be done, they are actually informed. Let's come over. I see some workers in this area that I'll just try to engage with. Senior, good morning all. Do you live in this community?
Not yet.
Not yet?
Yes, I've not moved in yet.
You've not moved in yet, but you're moving in here?
Sure.
Okay, so that's an interesting one. Some are crying that the community is on fire and you are now moving in. What do you think about the latest flooding situation? What happened here and all of that? What do you make of it?
It was very unfortunate. Very, very unfortunate. I think the whole thing happened unexpectedly. You know, normally when they are going to spill, they tell, you know, they inform the community this is going to happen. You know, for the past days, it hasn't been like this. I mean, past years. You know, when they spill, it comes, but like at a very low level. Yeah, but I think the last time this thing happened was in '92. About 33 years over, but this one was just too much. Yeah, so it happened unexpectedly. That's why a lot of people lost a lot of their properties, you know, yes. But there are some areas that are high. It didn't actually get to anybody's room. But, you know, you can actually come out and walk because of the level of the water, yes.
So as you move here, I'm sure this is a concern for you. What is your plan?
My plan is just to raise my building because I know the level, just in case in the near future anything like that happens. Yeah, I have a house here, but actually it wasn't flooding. Water didn't because it was raised. People that are very low, there were people that were more affected. Yeah, but people with the high raising ones, it's just the compounds. Yeah.
In terms of solutions, political leadership, what do you think can be done?
I think it's not a difficult thing because looking at I think it has to do with the estuary. Because normally when they are going to spill, you know, it has its roots. Yeah. So this thing wasn't opened. Normally they have to open the estuary to make it flow. And then I think it has to do with mud. They have to actually distill.
So dredging must happen.
You get me? Yes, because the whole place is filled with sand when you look at the river or whatever it is. It's all sand. The depth is very, you know, shallow. It's not deep. And then I don't think this thing should continue happening. There should be a way out. Either government finds a solution, either make another dam. You get me? Then anytime it's full, the spill, it goes in there. When it's dry season, because I know very soon Ghana Water will be complaining there's no water to supply people.
So we could even harvest this.
Exactly. So must we always continue in it's full, we spill and spill and spill? You can't continue doing that. There has to be a way. Let's find a solution that anytime we spill, it goes in there and we store it. When it's dry season and the rains are off, we can use that. Even people can use that for irrigation farming and other things. You get me? So I think this is the way out.
What's your name, though?
Alaji.
Alaji, thank you so much for interacting with us. So this is what we're going to do. We're getting back into the studio, but we're still here in the Old Tetegu community, and we'll be right back here to confer with others about the way forward, the solutions, so to speak. But back to you, Bernice, in the studio.